Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. First of all, I just want to say happy Valentine's Day. I hope you had lots of chocolate. Welcome to another Starting Brandy video. This one's going to be about exposure. I'm going to show you guys all the things I tried to expose her to at a young age. My last Starting Brandy video was all about lunging. I kind of did it in this order because I like to be able to lunge my horse when I take them to different places and expose them to different things, just as a way to work through their inevitable reactions. There's no doubt that they're going to spook. It's their first time, right? They're being exposed to a bunch of different things, so having a way of working through those reactions is really important to me. So that's why I like to teach lunging before I start hauling them to different places. That way I can have some control and a way of getting their attention back on me and all that stuff. So I feel like it's really important to try your best and get your horse used to as many things as possible. So yeah, that's what this video is going to be. I hope you guys enjoy. Before we get started, I want to mention that I actually started a Facebook page for Valentina Cowgirl. If you guys want to check it out, I will leave it linked down below. Because I know a lot of you guys don't have Instagram. I've gotten questions before if I had a Facebook, so I decided to open a Facebook page. Hopefully those of you who don't have Instagram can still have another way of keeping up with me. I also opened a Twitter. I'll leave all my social media linked down below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it. I would really appreciate it. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Cindy Valentina. I would love if you would subscribe. All you gotta do is just click that red subscribe button down below, and that's it. Alright, let's get on into the video.
Alright guys, so to start off, one of the main things our horses are exposed to is our dogs. I honestly didn't do this on purpose. It kind of just comes with the territory when you own dogs and keep your horses at home. Obviously, it worked out great because there's so many possibilities of a horse encountering a dog when you're riding on the trail or around your neighborhood or even at horse shows. So making sure they're desensitized to them is really important. Dogs can be really scary to horses. The loud barks, the running around, all the sudden movements and sound effects, especially with Levi's heavy engine breathing. I let them hang around the horses while I groom them or when I'm grazing them. So again, if you can expose them to all of that at a young age, the better. I always make sure I'm aware of where the dogs are though. I never want them to get hurt, especially when you're just introducing dogs to your horses. You want to be very careful because you don't know how your horse is going to react. And of course, you never want your pets to get hurt. So yeah, I'm always aware of where the dogs are and I'm correcting them if they're getting too close or if they stand behind the horse or anything like that. I'm always yelling out at them. I don't know if you guys can tell in my videos, but I'm always yelling at them to get away from the horses when they get too close. Now that she knows how to lunge, hauling Brandy to different places is one of my favorite things to do. I always like to lunge her a little bit when we first arrive, just to get her attention and get her all warmed up. And there's so much to expose them to, whether that be at a horse show or a big trail park, and doing so prepares them for the future. If you get your horse used to all that stuff before they're even rideable, when the time comes to actually ride them down a trail or at a show, they'll be a lot less spooky. I usually pony her while riding Crystal, and she behaves so well. She's honestly becoming such a trail riding pro. She's encountered bears, bicycles, other horses, everything. I also love bringing her with me to barrel races or rodeos. There's so much that goes on at events like that and so much for them to be exposed to and desensitized to. So I love bringing Brandy, and bringing her while she's young gets her used to all of that and prepares her for when I'm actually ready to ride her at these crazy places. So like I said, whenever I arrive anywhere with her, I like to do some light lunging depending on how she's acting. Sometimes I won't. Then after I ride Crystal around and get her all warmed up, I'll grab Brandy and pony her around the rodeo grounds and arena. This gives her a chance to look around and get used to the environment while still having Crystal there to show her it's okay. Hand walking her around the rodeo arena is another thing I love to do. There's always so much going on, and this gives her a chance to see everything and explore. I like to get there early before the barrel race actually starts or when exhibitions are going on, and I'll just walk her along the whole arena, making sure to stay out of the rider's way. I also use this time to go over our groundwork because a lot of horses tend to forget their ground manners when they're excited or at a new place. So I'll practice our stops to make sure she's not passing me. I want to see if she remembers and understands that good ground manners aren't just when we're at home. I also like to walk her up to all of the barrels. I'll let her smell them, I'll tap them, bang them, move them around. Obviously not the ones that people are using. Once I feel like she's comfortable with that, I move on and take her over to the banners. Banners can be really scary to horses, especially on a windy day. So again, I do the same thing, just walk her up to them, let her smell them, really just take my time, letting her do her own thing. The more that goes on, the better. Like having all of these horses ride past us, having the music playing loud, the announcers announcing, even the tractor driving around is all great desensitization. As you can see, she had never seen a tractor before. Poor girl, you guys, she got so scared. Once she realized that it was driving past us and not at us, she was totally fine with it. And that's exactly why I like to expose her when she's young and not saddled yet. So when the time comes to actually ride at these places and she sees a tractor again or a banner or barrels, she'll already have been there, done that, and she'll be desensitized and used to everything, making it a lot safer when I'm on her back.
Yeah.
Once the barrel race starts and I've had a chance to expose her to the arena, I go ahead and walk her around the parking lot. I really like to do this just to give her a break and to let her look at all the other horses and trailers. I also let her graze for a while before I tie her back up at the trailer. I almost always have Crystal with me when I bring Brandy to a barrel race or a trail ride, so while I ride Crystal, Brandy gets a chance to practice standing quietly. When you think about it, standing at the horse trailer is something almost every horse has had to do, especially if you show a lot. We all know how worrying it could be to have a nervous horse tied to a trailer, especially if you're riding another and can't keep an eye on the one that's tied. So I like to make sure Brandy gets a lot of practice to avoid any accidents. You never know what could happen while they're tied, especially if there are trucks and trailers driving by. So I like to tie her as often as I can to get her used to it and help her develop some patience.
Guys, so another thing I exposed her to was the bit and the bridle. Now, a lot of people like to do this when they saddle them up and they start riding them. They usually start in a bridle. I don't like to. I've been working with her in a halter and she does fine in a halter, but I still want her to be well-rounded. I like to ride my horses in both. So this is how I introduced her to the bit. So before we get started, I always like to just round pen her to get her attention and get some of that baby energy out, just so that when we actually get to the exercises I'm working on, she could be a little bit more focused. So that's what we're gonna do first. She's been round penned and I feel like I got her attention and she's got a lot of that energy out, then I move on to our exercise. I've done this about 2 other times, but again, I mostly ride her and work with her in a halter. This is gonna be, I think, her 3rd time with the bit on. Let me go ahead and grab the bridle. Alright, so this is the kind of bit we use on most of our horses. This is what we usually start them in. This is just a snaffle with 2 breaks in the middle. I don't really like the ones with just 1 break in the middle because I feel like it's so sharp when it goes like that. But this is what I want to use for Brandy. It's just a really mild bit. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I got this on her for the first time. Alright, so today's a pretty cold day. So the bit is kind of cold, but I'm going to try and warm it up as much as I can with my hands. You want them to have the best experience possible, right? So whatever you can do to make it more comfortable for them, the better. Okay, I think that's good. This is just a basic nylon headstall, but yeah, I don't like to put the reins on or anything like that. Okay, so just gonna go ahead. So I'm just gently gonna slide it in. I don't want to be rough. I don't want to rush her or bang her teeth. So as gentle as possible. Put that in there. All right. Good girl. So obviously she's gonna play around with it a little bit until she gets used to it. All right, look at you. So my goal when I'm putting the bridle on for the first time is to make sure I'm putting it in her mouth as gently as possible. I don't want to rush her. I don't want to hit her teeth against it. So now once she has the bit in her mouth, I just let her do her own thing, walk around for a while. So I'm just gonna let her go if she wants to walk away.
How does it feel? Oh my goodness. Bless you.
So once I give her a chance to get used to the bit a little bit and do her own thing, I go ahead and start round penning her with the bit on. very important is the way you remove a bridle. A lot of times you see people just taking it off and pulling it out of their mouth. Taking it off gently and waiting for them is super important and prevents any negative association with the bit. This is how I do it. Take it off from her ears and hold it in her mouth until she decides to spit it out. Like that. Like, I let her spit it out. I don't pull it out of her mouth. So I just take it off of her ears, hold it there for her, and as soon as I feel her starting to spit it out, I gently bring it down. Just so you don't bang their teeth or anything like that when you remove the bridle. I'm gonna demonstrate that one more time. Again, I take it off from her ears, hold it there for her, and when she decides to spit it out, there you go. Good girl. So that's how I've worked with her with the bit. This is like the third time I've ever done it because again, I mostly work her in the halter, but I want her to be used to it. Like I said, I always go back and forth. So making sure they're comfortable with both the halter and the bridle is very important to me. So yeah, that's how I exposed her to the bridle.
Finally, before I even put the saddle on Brandy, I like to let her investigate it. Throughout my whole training process with her, I've brought in the saddle a bunch of times just to let her smell it and get familiar with it so that when the time comes to actually saddle her up, the saddle and saddle pad won't be this brand new scary thing. Usually, I'll do this after some groundwork or after a round penning session. I'll just bring in the saddle and saddle pad, and at first, I'll just lay it on the ground and let her do her thing. She's a very curious little mare, so she always walks up to it and sniffs everything. So once I give her a chance to do her own thing, I go ahead and start throwing the saddle pad on. I've used the saddle pad before to desensitize her, so she's pretty used to it. I just throw it on just like I would to any other finished horse. I don't like to tiptoe or anything like that, so as you can see, I just keep throwing it on and taking it off, and I do this a bunch of times, and then I move on to the other side. I always like to repeat everything on both sides. Once I feel like she's comfortable with that, I grab the saddle. First, I'll hold it up to her and let her take a good look at it. And again, I just grab the saddle just like I would around any other horse. Then, I just walk around her a couple of times, making as much noise as I can with the saddle, just to make sure she's not scared of it or running away. And again, I do this in both directions, so here I just kind of change directions and walk the other way. And whenever I see that she's interested in the saddle, I stop and let her smell it. And that's it. That's everything I've exposed Brandy to so far. Hopefully, I didn't forget anything, but my goal with all of this is to prepare her for as many things as possible. She's such a smart little horse. Honestly, she's done so well with everything. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.